The Arctic sea ice extent reached the second lowest level for the month of December in the 44-year satellite record. The decline in ice coverage that we've been witnessing is truly astonishing. And as you can see from this chart, the recent drop in sea ice extent has been quite dramatic. Just a month ago, back in November, there was still plenty of sea ice in the Arctic Ocean. Now we're at just over 720,000 square kilometers, or about 278,000 square miles of remaining ice. This is only the second lowest extent for this time of the year since the beginning of satellite records in 1979. The lowest December extent on record was just 2 years ago. In 2020, when the Arctic Ocean had only 678,000 square kilometers, or about 262,000 square miles of sea ice left. And if we take a look at the average extent for the past 30 years, we can see how far below the average the current ice extent is. As you know, sea ice plays a critical role in regulating the global climate by reflecting sunlight back into space. But unfortunately, as temperatures warm, the ice melts, which results in less sunlight being reflected and more being absorbed, leading to further warming. The decline in sea ice extent that we are currently seeing is unprecedented in both speed and scale, and it's happening much faster than even the most aggressive IPCC projections predicted. It is happening right now, before our very eyes. As an example, back in October, the sea ice extent dropped to the third lowest level since records began. At the time, we made a video where we shared this information, and our viewers commented that nothing would come of it, that it's not a big deal because winter is coming and new ice will form. Well, that didn't happen. Winter did come, but the ice extent continues to remain extremely low. In fact, it's going lower and lower. Even though the temperatures have dropped well below freezing, December air temperatures over the Arctic were above freezing. The average temperature was about 4 degrees Celsius, or about 39 degrees Fahrenheit, which is more than 30 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than the average for this time of the year. And that is why we don't see any improvement in terms of the ice coverage. The conditions are just too warm. And here's another interesting point to consider. So far, we've been talking about the Arctic region, but what about the Antarctic ice sheet? Is it melting as well? Yes, it is. According to a recent report by The Guardian, and Antarctica's ice sheet is melting faster than at any time in the last 5,000 years. The findings were published in the journal Nature Climate Change. Researchers used a 3D model to reconstruct past ice sheets to determine how fast they melted. They found that even if emissions are curbed, the Antarctic ice sheet will continue to melt for centuries to come. Lead author of the study, Dr. Jonathan Mallon from the University of New England in Armidale, Australia, said that their research shows that irreversible ice loss is already baked in and unavoidable. He added that even if we stop emitting greenhouse gases today, the ice sheet will continue to melt for many centuries to come. The reason for that is that once the ice sheet starts thinning, it becomes unstable and we need to get the global temperature down to give it a chance to recover. So they say, now let's go back to the Arctic and have a look at some other charts. Here's the Arctic sea ice volume. It's even worse than the sea ice extent chart we looked at previously. The Arctic sea ice volume is at the second lowest level on record. There's only 1,283 cubic kilometers of ice left. That's almost 23% below the 1991 to 2020 average. You may remember back in September when the volume dropped to the lowest level ever recorded. That record didn't stand for long. By mid-October, the volume had already dropped to the new record low. And here's the 4-year trend. We can see that in the past 4 years, the sea ice volume has been dropping like a rock. Each year gets worse than the previous one. Another amazing chart I want to share with you is this one. It illustrates the volume of ice lost from the Arctic in real time. You may remember this chart from our previous video. Back then, the volume of ice lost was approximately 1,389 cubic kilometers per day. Now it's 1,563 cubic kilometers per day. This rate of ice loss is alarming and suggests that the Arctic sea ice volume will continue to decrease in the coming months. Of course, we will keep an eye on this. In addition to that, researchers with the University of Washington published a study recently showing that the Arctic ice sheet is likely to disappear during the summer, at least every other year by the end of this century. They came to this conclusion after studying snow and ice cores taken from the summit of the Greenland ice sheet. The lead author of the study said that based on the results from their first 3 years of drilling, they see evidence of rapid change. He went on to explain that even if global warming is limited to 1.5 degrees Celsius by the end of the century, their results suggest that the semi-annual disappearance of the summer ice sheet is virtually guaranteed. All of these alarming reports and data really make us wonder, what is driving the melting of the Arctic ice? And is it something that we can stop or reverse? Unfortunately, the answer is that yes, we are causing this damage. Humans are responsible for the unprecedented rise in global temperatures that is melting the ice. Our burning of fossil fuels has trapped more heat in the atmosphere, leading to rising temperatures. And as long as we continue to emit greenhouse gases, the temperature will keep rising. And unfortunately, according to the latest IPCC report, human-caused emissions are likely to cause total Arctic sea ice to shrink, even if global warming is limited to 1.5 degrees Celsius. If emissions continue unabated, the Arctic will be virtually ice-free in the month of September, by the year 2100. As you can see, things are changing rapidly, and it seems like everything we've been dismissing as conspiracy theories or fake news turns out to be true. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. This is a very important topic that affects all of us. And I believe that we need to be aware of what is happening and have an open discussion about it. The biggest problem is that people in power refuse to take action, refuse to admit that there is an issue, or they know that there is no turning back. And we wouldn't want to upset the status quo, would we? If you watched my video covering the recent Davos meeting, Klaus Schwab said that the Davos elites don't care about your quality of life. They don't care about the problems that ordinary people face. And it appears that they don't care about the imminent climate disaster either. They have their own plans for us. Plans that are clearly not for our benefit. And those plans include mass migration and depopulation. I would love to hear from you. Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And while you are there, make sure to follow our channel to stay up to date with our latest videos. If you enjoyed this video, show your support. Give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching. Stay informed. Most importantly, stay free.